Welcome back to Behind the Wheel. Do you know which American car manufacturer introduced the first windshield as standard in 1915? The first automatic choke in 1932 maybe? What about the first production turbocharged car in 1962? No? Well, just jump in then. We're going on a road trip back in time.
So this is a 1967 Oldsmobile Cutlass, and yes, this is a new shirt. Thank you so much for noticing. I got it before the summer and I really like it. But enough about my new and upgraded wardrobe. Let's get into it, shall we? So, Oldsmobile, it doesn't get any more old school American than that. The company was founded in, hold on to your seats, 1897 by one Ransom Eli Olds. And by 1901, it was the largest American manufacturer of gasoline-powered cars with a staggering 635 units made. But fun fact, back in the day, there were more steam-powered and electric-powered cars than there were internal combustion vehicles on the market. I didn't know that either. Eventually, Oldsmobile was bought off in 1907 by General Motors, where it became a division of the manufacturing giant alongside Buick, Cadillac and Chevrolet. But throughout the 20th century, Oldsmobile was a major player on the American car market with cars like the 442, the Starfire, awesome name by the way, and the Vista Cruiser that was immortalized in the TV program That 70s Show. The car I'm driving right now is a Cutlass, which is another name for some sort of 17th century pirate sword, and like many other American cars, it started its career as a trim level for another car, in this case the F85, before branching out and eventually becoming its own thing. And this is not just any Cutlass, this is the Supreme trim level. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that meant in terms of luxury, but I do know that the car is covered in all these little CS emblems everywhere, and I find them really cool. Now, can you imagine driving around behind the wheel of one of these in 1967, singing along to Sam and Dave's Soul Man or Jefferson Airplane's Somebody to Love? And this car is actually very special because it is a European car. It's been built in Belgium, and evidence for that is the speedometer that is in kilometers, not in miles. Nothing to worry about though, because despite its European heritage, the heart that beats under the bonnet is as Yankee as anything you'll ever drive. The power unit in this car is an Oldsmobile V8, aka the rocket engine. And the rocket engine was built between 1949 and 1990 and only saw 3 generations, which is a testament to how sound its engineering was. Now, the rocket in this car is a second generation, nicknamed Jetfire, and it is a 330 cubic inch 5.4 liter V8, making 325 horsepower, which is acceptable. Although there is a confession that I need to make about all these horsepower figures that we keep talking about episode after episode. Now, if you are not interested in horsepower, you are on the wrong channel, but that's okay. Feel free to crack open a Bud Light and book yourself a ticket to the Barbie movie. If you are interested, however, this is how it goes. Horsepowers, as it turns out, are not all created equal. Let's put aside the fact that American and European horsepowers are not exactly the same. What I'm talking about right now is the difference between gross and net horsepower. You see, gross horsepower is the measure of an engine's output under ideal conditions without any accessories attached and corrected for perfect atmospheric pressure and temperature. But in real life, engines have to power all sorts of things like the water pump or the air conditioning system, for instance. And they also have to be able to run even if it's too cold or too hot outside. And that is where net ratings come into play. Those are taken from engines running under realistic conditions and with all sorts of accessories attached. Unfortunately, there isn't a formula that allows a direct conversion from gross to net horsepower. The difference can be as small as 5% or as large as 25%. And that's without even taking into account the over or under reporting of power from manufacturers. So if you want to get an accurate reading of your car's actual power output, just drive to the nearest dyno for a test and let me know how it stacks up against the manufacturer's specifications. I am genuinely curious. And this, my friends, concludes the educational portion of this film. So let's go back to the car for a minute before I have to give it back. Now, regular viewers of the channel might have noticed some similarities between this car and the ghost car that was featured in the last season of the show, and that is not an accident. You see, just like the country squire, this poor girl was left to rot in the shed for 20 years before being brought back to life by a Dutch maniac covered in tattoos. And word on the street is that he's turning this very car into a NASCAR. We'll have to take it for a spin when it's finished. Unfortunately, the popularity of the Oldsmobile brand declined sharply throughout the 1990s despite the critical acclaim of the cars they were making. The company tried to brand itself as being not your father's car, but that is kind of the reputation they got anyway. This car, the Cutlass, went extinct in 1999, and when the company went under in 2004, it was the oldest car manufacturer in the United States. But there is, of course, no use crying over spilled gasoline. This old girl is still very much alive and kicking, and I am having a good time. So if you don't mind, I will just put on some music and I'll keep driving for a while. Behind the wheel of my merry Oldsmobile.
Come away with me, Lucille, in my merry Oldsmobile. Down the road of life we'll fly, automobile bling, you and I. To the church we'll quickly steal, then our wedding bells will peal. You can go as far as you like with me in my merry Oldsmobile.